Hey everybody, welcome back to MTG Spec. This is Tom, and welcome back to more lazy content. I mean, a binder tour episode. Let's see what we got here. Jackalope Herd. Last magic card you're going to see in this binder. We're getting into the deep dive now, folks. This is where the fun really begins, because now we get to see a little bit of the true history of CCGs. Now, all these binders... I call them notebooks normally, but anyway, the binder tour, they are in chronological order. So every set that you're going to see from now on is going to be in chronological order of release. So you get to see the evolution of card games as it exists. So let's strap you in like a slowpoke with a Clockwork Orange thing, and we're just going to jump right in. Here we go. Blammo. All right, so obviously we got the front page is always 18 cards of 18 different expansion sets or games, just kind of show off. This one's kind of funny, actually. I don't know if you guys remember Neopets. This was another heir apparent to Pokemon before MetaZoo roamed the planet. But this one cracks me up because they had pets, which was like Neopet pets, and this was the only. I don't know if you can see that pet. Just weird. But yeah, we got, what else do we have up here? A Sailor Moon promo. Just rando stuff. But anyway, Spellfire. Let's talk about Spellfire. I remember the day Spellfire came out, I told my friend Eric about it. We were both Magic players. I was like, oh man, D&D has its own card game now. And he's like, oh boy, more stuff for me to spend money on. Like, we were all sure when this came out that like it was going to blow Magic out of the effing water, because here you had not only a D&D property, this was an established property that, could actually compete with Magic on its own terms. Of course it didn't, and now we have Magic wearing D&D's skin and shambling around, living the life it was supposed to live in the form of the Adventures of the Forgotten Realm set that just came out this last year. But at the time, Spellfire, a lot of people looked at it as like a big contender. And this game was pretty popular for a while. It had a kind of cool mechanics where you had like a monster and you had like allies. I like these because these actually were, all the art was cribbed from pre-existing art that they already had. Like they didn't spend a dime on art, but they had so much good stuff that they didn't really need to. But I love these because these were actually characters from the cover of the monster manuals. And these cards, by the way, they weren't all even necessarily from the same set. They just kept reusing art from the different things. This one actually, this guy here is actually reverse image from this dude. So his hand is actually on the wrong side there. Anyway, I'm not going to go on too much of a tangent here, but they had holdings, they had little attached realms. This page is all art by the great artist Brahm, who is just an incredible artist. He's done some comic work as well, beautiful earth tone stuff. He's done some Magic work as well, but I always liked Brahm. All right, just got a various assortment of dragons, and this character was interesting. Yeah. Wizards cannot cast spells without her permission. They talked about their characters in like the third person, or it was really strange how they did that. And this was the first game that had like this one. If she's played from 6 p.m. to midnight, she's level 7 instead of level 3. So it they had different powers depending on what time of day you played. Some of this game was super janky, but I love the art and the lore behind it. This chick looks so much like Katie Holmes. It's creepy. God, I don't know. I don't really know what to say about it. I love the art, and they tell you like what property from D&D it's from. So Advanced Dungeons, Dragons, Greyhawk, Dragonlance. Those are, I always love that bear dude. He's ridiculous. Drizzt Do'Urden. So there is actually a Magic card now of Drizzt. This was such an important piece of CCG history. And they, you know, it was a playable game. It wasn't that bad. Some of the things were a little broken. Like these allies, for instance. You have the same ally, you know, you could put one that gives you +1 power, or you could put one that gives you +9 power. And I'm not sure they even really balanced that very well in the game. It's just sort of like luck of the draw, what you bought. Oh man, epic art. First game to ever do monochromatic color, like art on the cards. I don't know why that intrigues me, but Magic's doing it actually a full set of that in the upcoming what's it called, the Innistrad double feature is going to be all black and white, but Spellfire did it first. Oh god. And later in the lifespan of Spellfire, they started to do these cards that were like Mr. Bill sketches, where they would just film like weird stuff they built outside and take photos. Photo cards in a medium that's not necessarily based on that, like, is a little dodgy. And these, this whole page of stuff I wound up getting like way after the rest of this. Because they introduced the new fighting type. A lot of these symbols back here, you know, like clerics or whatever, psionics was new, the fighting was new, and then on this page, they had royalty. So these were fairly rare in my experience. Also the thieving icon. So these were some of the later classes that came out. Now we have Jyhad, which later became Vampire the Eternal Struggle. It was based on the role-playing game Vampire the Masquerade. But you'll notice something interesting if you're a Magic aficionado. The Deck Master, which is on the back of every Magic card. This is one of the original Deck Master games. Back when that meant something. It used to mean a family of games. Now it just means something that annoys Wizards of the Coast art department that they can't get rid of it. But look at the art on this. Like, this whole page, I believe, is all Quentin Hoover, one of the all-time great Magic artists. Incredible art. And they had a ton of crossover. This page is all Anson Maddox, except for one little lone Larry McDougall. But he's just absolutely legendary. Anson Maddox had one of the most creative eyes for card art you've ever seen. And then, in fact, this card is drawn by Mark Tadine based on the actual Anson Maddox. It's kind of funny. I forgot about that, actually. This card always amused me because this guy is clearly wearing a Beavis and Butthead shirt. Like, the details were so good. But again, Harold McNeil, Pete Ventures, like all, you know, Magic artists. And this game used the term tap as well. Here's some stuff from the later edition where they realized that the word jihad is not the most politically correct, so they called it vampire. And these include some Rebecca Gay art. This is sadly the only Black Lotus card I own. Wrong game, but still pretty cool. And this is, I don't know what it is about this card, Jim Gasly, but that's one of the cutest chicks ever on a card game card. I just love her. She's so cute. All right, so we get some weird Harold McNeil art at the end here, and then we get into another game that gave Magic a run for its money. This Star Trek CCG by Decipher was one of the all-time heavy hitters. And yeah, this card, the Future Enterprise, was the original ultra rare collectible game card. Long before Magic ever had Mythic Rare, long before the Epic Rares. or whatever they're called from World of Warcraft. This card had a print run of 40,000, which at the time was considered to be extremely rare. Of course, now we know with Magic doing serialized cards, 1 of 100, you know, maybe not so rare anymore. But yeah, a lot of ships, more ships. This was all 9 cards from a thing called the Fajo collection that was a specialty product. One of the first times you ever saw a collectible card game card with interconnected art. Also, the first time a card was printed in Klingon, which is kind of weird. Another monochromatic page. In this case, it was all the sci-fi stuff from Voyager. All right, we got some more public domain art here. Persistence of Memory, Mona Lisa, and Starry Night. It's kind of cool. One of my classic, what I like to call the hot chick page. And then the this is what really got me into Star Trek. When they did the First Contact expansion, they had all the crew re-released, and I felt like it was something that I could get into. That was my little linguini. All right. Star Trek also codified the ultra rare rarity on their cards. This Dixon Hill is a good example, where it actually says "You are" at the bottom. It was one of the first games to do that. The Borg was an extremely confusing character type. Made playing the game almost impossible unless you knew the rules inside and out. That was the only problem with Decipher, is the complexity creep started high, and then it only got higher from there. And that was true of all their games. Although, they did print one of the greatest cards of all time. Barber Pole, plays on table. That's literally all it does. It took about, I don't know, 15 years before it actually did anything else. Love this game. This was another innovation. Their card Space counts as 1/2 a card, so you could actually put 2 of these on your timeline. It's sort of like, imagine if you had like a forest where you could play double force. Except in this case, Space doesn't really do that much. But Star Trek did have a second edition. They kept the same card back, as you can see, but they radically redesigned the frame. Some of these alternate art cards are very highly sought after. This one shows off Linda Park's beautiful midriff, so that's one of my favorites for that reason. Got the Orion Slave Girl. That's another alternate art one. These are pretty wild. Unbeknownst to me, I actually had the Black Lotus of Star Trek in my collection. I wound up selling it in 2020. It's this oversized card called Dekaran. It was a promo they gave out to conventions in 1999. I sold it for $700 when I really needed the money during the height of COVID to pay rent. So, as much as I loved Star Trek before, I love it even more now because it helped get me through a rough time. More hot chick page, this time double-sided. All right, and then we get into Blood Wars. This had a lot of art by Didra Lizzie, who's one of the better Magic artists from the early days. Very cool design work. Like, all this stuff kind of looks like it, was like rejects from Henson Studios or something. It had a cool feel to it. The only problem was every single card had like a very samey look. Like the only way to tell the different card types was to decipher this little Rubik's Cube icon in the corner. So it made it a little difficult to understand. And then we get into Rage. Rage was a very popular combat game and probably the first game that was really focused on combat. It gave us wonderful cards like A Bus Full of People and Get Medieval, which has some of the funniest game text ever, if you're a Tarantino fan. Play this card when you kill an opponent who has slain a member of your pack. The opponent lingers on as you go to work with a pair of pliers and a blowtorch. The victim is removed from play at the end of combat. This card is worth 2 victory points. It's funny to me, the innocent age of older games where they worked in flavor text into the mechanics themselves. And this game was interesting too, because you would have the different forms. Like this guy was the same on both sides, but some of them would actually transform. So I believe this was the original game that introduced the transform mechanic. I love the name of this card for some reason, the Bottle Cap of Shaky Mac. That's just poetry to me. Run Like Hell. And Silver Record. So that's it for tonight's video. I hope you enjoyed it. This is what the binder series is going to be more like now. Now that we've kind of got through the Magic stuff and the other, like the introductory binder, I guess, the black binder from last video. These are going to be like just a chronological, interesting little journey into the history of CCGs. And I hope you guys saw something new and something cool. We'll talk to you soon. Okay, bye.